But that was followed by Wardlow in a rare singles match out of nowhere against Wheeler Yuta. Yuta. And he comes out again with
Yuta.
pockets.
Yuta.
Yeah, you too. With pockets and the best friends and the alien Chris Flatlander. So now at least they're baby faces fighting a heel, but this is the multiple appearances of the whole Pockets gang. So anyway, basically on this program, the preliminary jobbers are in everybody's corner or aligned with them in somehow. But Wardlow made quick work of this. But did you notice he hit 4, not only power bombs, but 4 of the best looking, wickedest, fastest power bombs that I've seen in a long time and didn't cover the guy at all. But then he went and hit his move out of the corner that's so sloppy that when it's fucked up, you can't even tell what it is, or when it's right, you can't tell what it is. And that was the 1, 2, 3. Wouldn't Wardlow have looked like a goddamn beast if he'd have just put his foot on him after that 4th power bomb instead of taking him over to the corner, setting him up, giving a thumbs up? I thought he was going to do the Asiatic spike, but somehow he drops the part of the guy off the turnbuckle and hits him with a knee, and you can't tell. And we don't know, and nobody knows how to take the bump. What the fuck?
You know, I never thought I would say this, but can someone show Wardlow some 89 Sid?
Yes. And that is the first time that's ever been said, I think, before ever. Can someone learn something from Sid? But it's applicable.
I like Wheeler Yuta's gimmick that he wears a coat.
Okay.
That appears to be his gimmick. He wears a coat. I don't know what else his thing is.
Well, hey, maybe he's cold. I don't know. Maybe he's got bad blood circulation.
Those power bombs look great, though. Like if there was, we don't see enough Wardlow, and we never see him, at least on TV. I don't know what goes on in the other world. We never see him have squash matches. This was great. Other than they should have, like you said, should have been power bomb, pin, looks like a monster, but he looked great here.
But then, of course, they can't leave well enough alone because suddenly here comes Matt Hardy and The Blade and Isaiah Cassidy. Basically, here comes half of a bunch of tag teams. Did you know that Matt Hardy doesn't have Jeff, Blade doesn't have Butcher, Isaiah Cassidy doesn't have Mark Quinn, old Chucklefuck Taylor lost Trent. So half of a bunch of tag teams come down, and Hardy and his guys beat up all the rest of the baby faces. And then this is the spot that went around on Twitter. The idea of this in these feeble minds that came up with this was that to get heat on Pockets for their big confrontation coming up, Matt Hardy's going to get a chair and he's going to put the chair, he's going to horse collar Pockets with the chair. So the chair is around his neck, and then he's going to give him the twist of fate where the chair will just act like a guillotine, right? Most fearsome move you could ever think to do to a motherfucker. So this is why I went out on Twitter, and then it was repeated in slow-mo so you could grasp it just in the awfulness and horribleness of it. Hardy opens the chair up and is holding it there, and Pockets bent over, grabbed the chair with his hands on each side, and gently pulled it over his own head and put it around his own neck. So that then Matt Hardy could give him the twist. And when he gave him the twist of fate, the chair was fucked up sideways and it just kind of crumpled in a heap. Wasn't even really the super fucking stone cold stunner thing and you would fly away from. It was. And then the heel jobbers just left the babyface jobbers laying there and nobody helped. Nobody cared. Every segment, every time somebody gets in the ring, it ends with a long beat down with everybody involved and nobody tries to do anything. And again, when everything is chaos, you have no chaos. It becomes the norm. When you have 12 7-footers, you don't have any giants because it becomes the norm. And this is why that nobody can remember these angles the following day because they're constant and everybody does the same fucking thing after every match. So there you go. Did you see the horse collaring of Pockets' head?
Yeah, and it's funny you bring this up. I got confused. We saw so much wrestling over the last few days in between all the production issues. I forgot what botches were Wednesday night and what botches were Friday night.
No, this was the botch fest because also was this the one where no, maybe it wasn't because that idiot Peter Avalon was the one that took yeah. But they also tweeted a clip from something of Pockets running across the ring for his Superman punch and jumping up and there's that Peter Avalon standing on the bottom rope leaning his chin in and you can see on his face he was squinched up, ready for this punch like he was standing in front of Mike fucking Tyson pissed off on coke. It's Orange Cassidy. He couldn't fucking bust a goddamn bubble to begin with this thing. But he threw the punch and went a foot underneath the guy's chin. I just bumped the microphone. He went a foot.
It didn't sound like
the guy's chin. And it didn't sound, and the guy flew away, even though he wasn't even anywhere near him. And the AEW fans, and then Matt Hardy. This was the one, Hardy, after that was Friday. That was the botch on Friday. Hardy, goddamn, drops an elbow on Pockets and misses him by a foot. He's laying there motionless, and he still missed him with an elbow drop. And then they tried to, he was doing that on purpose to act like he did something behind the referee's back. Since the referee's back was turned anyway, then he wasn't going to see it to begin with. But why would you not hit your downed opponent with a move after he's already been knocked out with brass knuckles? You would just hit him with it. You wouldn't fake a noise on the mat. I don't. And again, the AEW fans go, well, the camera angles. That's a bad camera angle. No. What about the fucking 5,000 people on all four sides of the ring, including at ringside that are 15 feet away that can see plainly? That never happened before in history. Well, it did, but not that often. It's not camera angles. Does all these people now think that the guys that it used to look like they're killing each other is because of the camera angle?
That is a crazy argument. But when you see WWE, if you grew up in this era and you see WWE where on every single move they switch the camera angle so you don't see anything. When on every single replay they slow it down until things are about to happen and then they speed it up as fast as they can. I mean, you may be stupid and think that, but it's a ridiculous argument. It's just sloppiness and unprofessionalism.
Is it the guys that have been in the WWE system and think, well, those camera switches will protect me, but nobody else does those camera switches? And in history, nobody had the budget to have a fucking multiple camera shoot that could do those camera switches like that on Moment of Impact. So you had to make it look good.
I understand that's what JYD said to Watts after the Wrestling 2 match. It was the camera angle.
It was the camera angle. Yeah, it was the fact that we had a camera there to begin with. That's what the problem was. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So after that deal, we come back from a break, and one of the most exciting 90 seconds of the program was CM Punk and Eddie Kingston yelling at each other in the parking garage with people trying to keep them separate, and one would break loose and run toward the other, but they never actually touched each other. But it looked like they were fucking pissed. Everybody was serious. Nothing actually happened, and it was more exciting than the interaction between all these job guys that doing all these phony heat angles.
It was more exciting than every single one of these things that happens on every one of these AEW shows up and down the card where no one runs in and breaks anything up or saves it. We've now seen Punk and Kingston go at it on Rampage. Immediately there were referees in between them. It made it more exciting. The place popped every time one of the guys would break away from the referees and go after the other guy. Same thing here. Punk and Kingston get nowhere near each other. All sorts of people are trying to separate them. At one point, Kingston makes a break and just starts running, and it's great.
Yeah.
It makes it more exciting as opposed to all these things happen. There's an attack. There's no one around. What's gone on?
And I love it when they attack somebody in the back and the cameraman and yes, a cameraman, even in wartime with the news cameras, they're trained to shoot whatever. But that doesn't mean that there's nobody watching on a monitor in the same building, probably 50 feet away somewhere, that could make their way over there and do something about it. Anyway,